think it's a secret that I love book series. I love the thrill of, being in the same world for a long time. And I wish I had read many more book series than what I have read so far. But I absolutely have loved the experience of reading a book series, even when I haven't liked a few of the book series that I've read. But in today's video, I am going to talk about all the book series that I love, which are non-Indian books. Okay, I do have a different video planned for all the Indian book series that I have loved, so stay tuned for that. If you're watching me for the first time, subscribe and follow me on my social media and hit the bell button so that you get notified every time I post a new video. Now, before I tell you about all of my favorite book series, I'll tell my most favorite one in the last. Let me tell you about a few that I have not finished, but I really want to talk about. I would not go into a lot of details about any of these because we are short on time here. But first is the one that I have DNF'd. This is the House of Night novel series. I have read the first 3 books and these are vampire novels. Did not like them. Okay, first book was something that I read it and then I wanted to buy the whole series, and there are so many books in it, but common sense and good sense prevailed and I did not buy the whole series and have just these 4 books. But yes, by the time you finish book number 3, Next is Throne of Glass book series. I have the first 3 books. I have read these and I love it so much. Selena Sardotian is one of my most favorite characters that I have ever read about in a book, and so good. But I have not finished these because by the time I finished book 3, I was on this self-inflicted injury which made me not buy a lot of books. So I have been trying to not buy more books and just read what I have on my shelf, which is why I have not picked it up. But someday I am going to finish this whole series and make a lot of videos about it, and I hope you're subscribed to this channel for that time because this series is awesome. Throne of Glass is also an epic fantasy. This next one, Game of Thrones series, is also a fantasy series. I have read the first book and the second book, almost like half of it 2 to 3 times. But yes, again, I am not reading it right now because I really want to give myself a lot of time to go through Game of Thrones books, and I'm waiting for the last book. That is why I have just stopped myself until then, because I just want to read the whole series together. I hope that happens soon, but let's see. But yes, this is still in my plan. Maybe like 10 years later I'll read it, but I'll read the whole series and talk about it on the channel for sure. Another series that is very interesting and different than the fantasy is this. These are thriller novels. Prey series by John Sanford. I have read 1 book from the series. This follows this character Lucas Davenport, and he is in sort of like police, and he actually changes, get into different departments over the course of the series. I have read Golden Prey, which comes much later in the series, but yes, I do have the first 3 books and I hopefully will be reading these soon and finish the whole series. But yes, I am very excited about it because I love John Sanford's writing, and if you're looking for thrillers and a long crime thriller series, I think I would definitely ask you to check this out, even when I have just read 1 book from the whole Lucas Davenport Prey series. Next series is something that almost made to the list, the Millennium Trilogy. There are, I think, 2 more books in this series, but the original is this trilogy which the author wrote before he passed away, and oh my god, so good. I have read the first 2 books, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and The Girl Who Played with Fire. I'm yet to read this one. I did start it. I think I have a bookmark at page number 260. But yes, I definitely want to read the whole trilogy before I add it into my favorites. But this is something that will go in my favorites anyway. Okay, this is so good. And lastly, that did not make to the list, and I do not think it will make to the list as per my prediction so far. I've read the first book, currently reading the second book. But yes, this is a dystopian fiction, one of the very popular ones, but I do not think it will make to the list, but I am still reading it. And now let's move on to the ones that actually did make to the list. On number 7, I have the 50 Shades trilogy. It's an erotica and it is sort of like a Twilight reimagining. And honestly, when you read the whole Twilight series and then read this book, you can see seriously it's a reimagining. But yes, this was so popular at the time, and I even wrote articles about how anybody who did not like the book series is not Not cool. Okay, many words that I would not use today. But basically, this book series, the first book was really good, and by the time you finish the whole series, that is when you feel like, okay, maybe some people are right. This is not really that good. But I still like stick to that whole thing that a lot of people did not like it because it was a very different thing for people to be talking about an erotica so openly, and for people to be liking and accepting that they were liking an erotica so openly. And a lot of people did not like the book because of that, and kept saying bad things about it without even reading it, and that is what I did not like. But otherwise, if you're looking for an erotica novel series, erotica romance, I think you can check this out. On number 6 is the Mortal Instrument series. These are fantasy novels that are all about the Shadowhunter world, where there is this whole different world that exists where there are people, Shadowhunters, trying to protect you from the underworld, the shadow world, vampires, werewolves, and all of that stuff. And before I talk a lot about it and waste your time over here, there are reviews and a lot of videos on this channel about this series because I absolutely love it. I feel like Cassandra Clare is one author who does romance so well in a fantasy setting. Oh my god, you will have butterflies, you will have emotions, you will feel so good while reading the whole series. I mean, it is slow to get into. If you watch all of the other videos about these books, you will find that out. I will link those videos down below in the description. But yes, definitely something that I loved so much. And there are many more books Cassandra Clare has written in the same world, which I intend to read someday. But yes, this is on number 6. There are 6 books. I cannot find the 5th one, but yeah. On number 5, I have this duology, Shining and The Doctor Sleep by Stephen King. These are both thriller novels. Okay, The Shining is all about this family that moves to this hotel that is going to be abandoned for the whole season, and there is this only family that is going to live in this hotel. And this hotel actually has a lot of different energies, and it's sort of like haunted. And the main character of our story is Dan, who has these supernatural powers, and sort of his abilities are going to amplify what is there in this hotel. And it's a very nice thriller novel, one of the most popular works of Stephen King. And the sequel to that is Doctor Sleep, which is set many years after this incident at this hotel. And Dan has grown up, and there is this another girl who has the shining, even brighter than Dan. And because of that bright shining, because of that bright supernatural abilities, she's attracting some bad people, which might be very dangerous to her. And that is what the whole book is about. I actually like Doctor Sleep so much better than The Shining. I think made a reading vlog about it. I will link it down below in the description. But if you're looking for reading Stephen King books, and there are so many of them, and you're like, Manpreet, which are the ones you think I should read? Stephen King's Doctor Sleep and The Shining would definitely make to the list. This is the first book, this is the second, okay? On number 4 is the Hunger Games trilogy. There are definitely too many videos on the channel about the Hunger Games trilogy. It's one of my most favorite dystopian fiction. This is all about this world when there is this capital, and there are different districts, and the districts are sort of oppressed by the capital. And just to remind them that the capital rules them all, they have these annual events called the Hunger Games, where 2 tributes from each district are selected, and they just fight in the Hunger Games arena until one of them emerges as a winner and rest of them die. And this time we have this amazing character, Katniss Everdeen, and all the characters in this book are amazing. The plot is amazing, the whole vibe of the book is amazing. It's just amazing. You must try it out if you're looking for a dystopian fiction novel series. Check it out. This is actually the prequel. I do have a vlog about this one as well. I would not say this is as good as all of these 3 books. And here's the thing, you do not have to read this one to check out these 3 books. But Hunger Games trilogy, if you have not read it, you must consider reading this one. And on number 3, so something bad happened here, okay? The thing is, on number 3, I wanted to put this mythological fantasy series, okay? And in one of my top book series videos, this series made to the list, but then it was just shoved away by another series. Can you guess what it is before I speak out the name? I definitely hope if you're an existing viewer, you already said the name in your mind and maybe in the comments, okay? But Heroes of Olympus series. Earlier, I had loved the Percy Jackson series, which follows Percy Jackson, who is a Greek demigod, and it is all about this Greek mythology. And he goes to this camp and he fights monsters, and he attracts a lot of monsters and stuff like that. And it's basically an adventure series. So Percy goes on a different adventures. There's a prophecy, so many elements in the book. I have talked about it in my previous top book series video. I will link it down below in the description. You can check it out if you want to know more about Percy Jackson series. But it's good. It's really, really good. Middle grade. So anybody above 10 years old can read this, and they'll enjoy it. But it is middle grade. So you, as a grown-up person, you might find it a little bit middle grade, okay? But then I read the Heroes of Olympus series. This sort of combines Greek and Roman mythology, okay? And this also has 5 books. I only have the first book because some I sold and two of them I actually read on my Kindle. But yeah, Heroes of Olympus series is a little bit different than Percy Jackson, because Percy Jackson is narrated from first person. This is narrated from third person. There's a lot more adventure, a lot more interesting stuff happening, a lot more interesting characters in the book as compared to Percy Jackson. So yes, sorry about taking Percy Jackson off the list. It would definitely have made to the list, but I feel like I had to make this choice between Percy Jackson and Heroes of Olympus series, and I made the choice. You are seeing it right now. Percy Jackson is also one of my favorites, but some of your favorites just have to go away, things change over time, you change over time. So Percy Jackson is my favorite a couple of years ago, and right now this is my favorite. Now on to our number 2 series, my number 2 series that I love. I think it is not difficult to guess. That is the Harry Potter series. It is one of my most favorite fantasy series. And do you see the pattern? I do not feel that much connected to like romance series or any other genre when it comes to series, except for thriller and fantasy novels, okay? And Harry Potter happens to be one of the best fantasy novels out there. If you have reservations about it, if you're thinking like I might not like it or I have watched the movies, just forget it, okay? Just read the first book and I think you will just continue reading the whole series. It is so good, and it is something that you can actually reread every single winter and you will never regret it, because you'll always find something new, something relatable, something with meaning in this whole series, because this is that good. That is my number 2 top book series. And on number 1, I have the Twilight series. There are 4 books. I have reading vlogs about this whole series, which still excite me to date. I felt changed after reading this whole series. A lot of people who are active booktubers actually, give a lot of credit to this series for making them, regular readers. I mean, they were reading a lot before this, but when they read this book, they just became a huge book lover, because that is the kind of series this is. And I think this book series did that to me as well. It's so memorable. I just remember all the emotions and everything that I went through while reading this whole book series, documented into my reading vlogs linked down below. But this is basically a vampire novel series, vampire romance, and really good. The movies are there, but the books are so much better. And yes, this is my top 1. This is just unput downable. And yes, these are all the book series that are my favorite. I really wish I can come up with another video maybe 1 or 2 years later that have many more books added to this list, but this is the list so far. I showed you the ones that I did not finish or did not like, and the ones that I have finished and I have loved. And I really hope this video helps you get some ideas on the kind of book series that you must check out. I really hope these are your future favorites, the 7 book series that I have talked about in this video. I really hope you also end up liking these as much as I did. But if you have already read these, what are your views about it? Let me know in the comments down below. And do not forget to subscribe to this channel if you're watching me for the first time for a lot of bookish videos. My next main video that is not a reading vlog would be about the Indian book series that I have loved. So stay tuned for that. And yes, thank you so much for watching. This is Manvi signing off. I'll be back with another video very soon.